Hi there, my name is Casper from Versus.com and welcome to a new camera comparison test between the iPhone 12 Pro Max, the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra and the OnePlus 9 Pro. You might ask yourself now,
wait a minute!
Where is Sam? No worries, he's just on vacation. He will be back soon and until then, I'm going to be your host. In this video, we are going to show you the video and photo performance in daytime and also in nighttime conditions. The different modes like portrait, macro, zoom and slow motion features, as well as the autofocus and the sound performance. But before we start, I have a little surprise for you. We are hosting an international giveaway in cooperation with GadgetByte and Mike O'Brien, where we will be giving away these three smartphones: an iPhone 12 Pro Max, Samsung's Galaxy S21 Ultra and the OnePlus 9 Pro. Just click the link in the description and follow the instructions to win a brand new smartphone. And don't forget to check out our partners' YouTube channels. Hope you are ready for this comparison now. Let the facts speak. So first we are going to show you the video performance. We shot on all three phones in 4K with 30 frames per second. Let's start with the ultrawide lens. Since they do not differ that much in terms of sharpness and detail, let's talk about what seems to be the biggest disparity between our three contestants: the color rendering. While the OnePlus seems to have chosen the magenta road, I mean, just look how pink my face is. The Galaxy and the iPhone are presenting some very decent results. The iPhone overall is a little bit too bright and especially the green seems a bit unnatural. The Galaxy on the other hand appears very natural and pleasing for the eye, but still overall a little bit too dark. This is especially noticeable when you focus on the background. I guess a mix of both would result in the perfect outcome. Okay, let's check out the different cameras now. First, you see the ultra-wide lens camera with a lot of contrast on the OnePlus side. Zoomed in, the iPhone definitely has the best quality, although again too bright and with unnatural colors. The Galaxy is the most natural again, but feels a little bit blurry. And OnePlus's color rendering is a bit off again. Now let us max out the zoom of all devices. Needless to say that the Galaxy leaves its competition far behind in this one. Its results are just impressive, considering that we are seeing 20 times zoom here. Next, we tested the stabilization feature. First, a short run with the feature turned off, or in Apple's case, leave it as it is, because the iPhone doesn't have anything to adjust. As you can see, the iPhone is pretty shaky, while the other two are actually surprisingly steady. And now to test them with the feature turned on. Well, it seems like the iPhone fell even more behind and is extremely unsteady, although this might just be the direct comparison. Let's see how the cameras are handling getting close to an object. It seems like Samsung and the OnePlus are on the same page again, as you can go equally close with both and they do not differ a lot when it comes to sharpness. The iPhone on the other hand reaches its limits pretty quickly, but more on the macro feature later on. As we are already talking about focusing, here is how the camera setups are autofocusing on something that suddenly appears in the frame. As you can see, the OnePlus is very slow compared to its competitors and not very accurate. The Galaxy does a lot better, but against the iPhone it stands absolutely no chance. Its autofocus feels almost perfect, so props to Apple. Now let us move to the slow motion feature. The iPhone is able to record 240 frames per second in 1080p, while the OnePlus is capable of doubling that frames rate to 480 in 720p. And the Galaxy moves even one more step ahead, recording 960 frames per second in 720p. The next feature that we are testing out is the portrait mode. Something that a lot of you were asking us to include in future videos. Before we go into detail about the performance of each phone, we have to remark that Apple doesn't have a video portrait feature. So we had to use a third-party software from the App Store to get a comparable result. And as you can see, it doesn't exactly do a great job. The OnePlus, on the other hand, shows its competitors how a video portrait feature needs to be dealt with. It is sharp, shows great details, no edge blurring and all of that even while the camera is still moving. The only tiny flaw is again the overstated saturation, but besides that, an amazing job. And for the last test, we are going to take a look at the selfie video feature and also testing the microphones. This is how the microphone of the OnePlus 9 Pro sounds like. And this is how the microphone of the iPhone 12 Pro Max sounds like. And this is how the microphone of the Galaxy S21 Ultra sounds like. That's it for the video comparison for now. I think the even more interesting part is how the cameras are actually taking pictures. So let's have a look. So first we will take a look at the portrait mode, which is always a tricky part, because it comes down how good the algorithm is recognizing what's going on in the pictures. Speaking of which, the algorithm on the OnePlus doesn't work so well here, because the leaves around the head are almost completely sharp. The Galaxy does a bit better, but the shift from blurred to sharp is a bit too heavy. The iPhone has the most natural transition and definitely looks the best. Besides that, the three cameras mostly differ in terms of color rendering. The Galaxy has the strongest contrast, while the OnePlus has the highest saturation. Although we got to say that the bokeh effect or depth of field on the OnePlus's side is a bit too extreme for our liking. But like the different color schemes, this is mostly just a matter of taste. Moving on to the front camera in portrait mode. Here we see the first real software failure in this comparison video, where the OnePlus recognizes something from the background as part of my face. The iPhone's picture is probably the best quality wise, but way too shallow for a selfie. This is what the Galaxy does a lot better. Its color scheme, saturation and contrast are just very pleasing for the face. Now let's move through the different cameras of each phone. The only notable difference with the ultrawide lens is the saturation. The Galaxy definitely has the highest and the iPhone most likely looks the most natural. You can see the difference at best then you focus on the sky, the roof and the grass. Exactly the same can be said for the wide camera. So this is mostly just down to personal preference. The image quality of all three is great, until we zoom in 2 times. If you look closely, you will notice that the small grey building on the far left is a little discolored on the OnePlus. This is what we call the Mori effect, which is an optical failure that tends to happen when cameras have problems with periodic patterns like this. Then zoomed in 10 times, you will notice that the overall quality is starting to suffer a bit. Besides the different color rendering, the iPhone shows stronger contrast, while the OnePlus and the Samsung appears a lot softer. Zooming in further to 30 times, which is the maximum zoom on the OnePlus, we noticed an extreme difference in terms of image quality for the first time. The Galaxy just does an amazing job, showing great detail, the font is very sharp and the texture of the stones is clearly recognizable. The OnePlus and the iPhone on the other hand are doing far worse and are very blurry. And if we go even one step further, which the Galaxy is capable of, we see pure mesh on Apple's and OnePlus's side, while Samsung's pictures is not great but still usable. Now let's check out the macro cameras. As you can see, the pictures of the iPhone is a lot further away than the other two. But this is actually the closest we could go before the image will start to blur. The image quality of all threes is quite good, but since the picture of the iPhone isn't really comparable, here you have OnePlus's and Samsung results side by side. Both do a very good job, but the Galaxy is a little bit sharper, which is even more impressive than you consider the fact that we are also able to move even closer to the coin. Before we take the transition from daytime to nighttime photography, here are some pictures for you to get a better idea of the performance of the different main camera lenses. We start off with the portrait feature again, and I guess it's obvious that all three have their problems with this mode in low light conditions. The Galaxy is the one with the least grain effect, but also being too dark overall. It also has problems with the saturation of its background. The iPhone probably has the best result, being the brightest and having the prettiest coloring and bokeh effect. But sadly it's also very grainy and the software seems to confuse the road sign for light sources, and the picture of the OnePlus just looked bad overall. Next up, more examples shot in portrait mode, where the Galaxy and the iPhone generally have the same results as before, but the OnePlus shows a lot of improvements to the picture before. This might be due to the software not having too much to manage in terms of the background, but we can't really be sure. The front camera of all three phones does a good job, at least when it comes to the background and the bokeh effect. The Galaxy definitely beats them both, showing good detail, sharpness and great coloring. Before we switch over to the nighttime video comparison, here are some samples to compare the overall photo quality. As you can see, all three don't actually do a good job when shooting with the ultrawide camera. But we have to say that there wasn't really that much supported light on that square. The results get a bit better when using the wide lens, but none of these three cameras is really an expert. But see for yourself. Alright, as you could see, how good a camera really is mostly comes down to what you want to do with it. All of these three camera systems have their strengths and flaws. So it's on you to decide which camera system is the most useful for you and your needs. I hope this video could help you with your decision and you enjoyed your time. I guess you won't see me that often in front of the camera again. Sam will hopefully be back soon. Let us know in the comments below which camera you liked more. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. Till then, take care and see you in the next one.